Hi everyone. Can you just type me so I know where you're joining me from? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, super. Thank you so much. I'm just waiting for everybody to join because people have started pouring in right now. And if you can just, perfect. Thank you. If you can just let me know where you're, what locations you're joining me from. Thanks, Elena. Thank you, Louis. Oh, wow. We just wait for 2 more minutes and then get started if that's okay with everyone. Wow. Okay, let's get started. It's 2 minutes past 1. I'm Nilofer Tamboli. I'm a risk management professional. I teach at Rutgers University and I work for Verizon. Everything that I'm going to discuss today during this 1 hour with you is nothing to do with, it's not endorsed by my employers. This is just my way of paying back, just like HS Navigator is doing this wonderful job for all of us. In order to understand, like, what exactly do you want to get out of this, if you can type it in, so I will just make sure that we cover all those topics. If you have any questions, just type it in so that I make sure that I cover everything. And I really appreciate all of you joining me today, because I know it's summer, you could be like doing out there doing fun things, but still you have decided to take these steps regarding your own career. You've decided to be very decisive and join me today. I appreciate that. And I get, like, you are the top performance. You are going to be the winners in this race because you're high schoolers, right? And if you decide, like, oh, this is important, something important for me, and I need to be on this particular webinar with me, it means that you will take action and you will achieve great success. So let's get started. What are the things that you would like me to cover during this 1 hour with you? Type it in, start putting it in. So I make sure I do not um, miss anything, or nobody goes back saying, oh, I didn't get my question answered. Start typing it in. Of course. Okay. All right. That is a burning question. So the one of the questions that is the effects of AI on cybersecurity occupation, which is pretty broad, but yes, I will definitely. So currently, I am doing my doctorate, and my uh, my topic I mean, it's broad at this point, but my topic is the malicious use of AI for phishing. So yes, definitely, I'll cover it. Anything else? Anybody else wants any questions covered? Okay, all right. So let's get started if nobody has anything. I've got a lot of interesting stuff for you today. Okay. So this is our topic, like, are cybersecurity careers foolproof? And what do you think? Doesn't matter if a technology changes. So the AI is a new thing. Machine learning was like yesterday, even today. There are different machine learning modules. Doesn't matter what technology comes in, say, another 5 years. What happens is that there will always be people who will try to use this technology in a malicious way. And there will be people like us who are trying to get into this cybersecurity career, which will work relentlessly to make sure that our companies and our communities are protected. So it doesn't matter what kind of technology comes, there will always be somebody who's trying to use it in a malicious way. And there will always be warriors and fighters who will try to do good in this world. I don't know if you guys saw the latest Mission Impossible movie. I don't know if you're going to be there, but that's interesting take. So let's get started. Last week, my colleague had covered with you certain basics of cybersecurity, and today I'm just going to take you further from a career perspective. So this is a disclaimer. The views expressed in this presentation and during this session are my personal opinions and do not reflect the official policy or position of my employers. This discussion is a volunteer-led effort to contribute to the profession and pay forward the many kindnesses and instances of support and guidance that I have received during the course of my career. So we are just paying it forward. So like I said, this is a little bit about myself. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and if there is anything that I can help you out with. So today we are going to talk about cybersecurity concepts very briefly because it was covered last week, breaches and countermeasures, and how to get started in this career. So what is cybersecurity? When we talk about cybersecurity, it is very broad. And it basically is a practice of protecting network systems, programs, importantly, data from criminal or unauthorized use. Means anything which was not authorized. Authorized means you could have authorization for something very limited. And then as soon as you were to use it for a different scope, or you would change using it in a different way, that is when it becomes unauthorized. If you have any questions, start putting them in as I cover, and I will take a look at that. We covered this CIA triad last week. I think Prabha covered this last week, but I'm just going to go into it again. What is confidentiality, what is integrity, and what is availability? So what this means is that whatever data or information that you have will stay confidential, means it will not be shared with anybody that you don't want to share it with, right? Integrity means there will be no unauthorized change to your data. That is integrity of the data. If you have patient data in a portal, then obviously you want only your healthcare provider to have access to it, or people who you designate, maybe a caregiver, right? Then we've got integrity, means who can upload that data, who can. So only your authorized healthcare provider can upload or make changes to that data. And then availability. Whenever that data is needed, either by your healthcare provider or by you or anybody you provide access to, they can have access to that when they want it. So these are three things that we look for in the CIA trial. We've covered this risk. What is it? likelihood that something bad will happen. Then threat is anything that could damage an asset. And then vulnerability is a weakness that could be exploited by a bad actor or a threat actor. Cryptography, again, the use of mathematical algorithms and processes to transfer plain text into cipher and vice versa. Means you encrypt it. If suppose you are sending it somewhere, and then the person who's receiving it can decrypt it and use it. Why do we need to do this? Because we do not want everybody to read it. When we are sending our data from, say, my laptop right now, it is going out. Suppose I'm conducting a banking transaction, I'm purchasing something. I do not want that to be shared with everybody. So data will be in transit, encrypted. Means in transit is when it is going from my laptop, my browser, it is going to the server of the bank or any other portal that I'm doing business with. And then, so that is in transit. At rest, when it's stored at rest. And then when in use, now somebody is using it, it needs to be encrypted. Not everybody has to have access to everything. Now suppose I'm calling up my bank and I'm talking to somebody who is providing me with, so customer service representative is providing me help with something. Do you want them to like have access to all your data? Probably not, right? So suppose that this person is like helping me figure out something, then they do not require. So at rest also, it will be at end use also, it will be encrypted, certain fields. So it's like known as field level encryption. Any questions so far? Again, then we talked about defense in depth. So when we talk about defense in depth, we're talking about different layers of security. And what does this signify? This is like pre-COVID, or this was the moat that we said, okay, so people, once they come to work, we will secure our perimeters. But what happened after COVID is that the perimeter basically dissolved. Everybody works from home. A lot of people work from home. And now we do not have this moat around us. So how are we going to now protect? So it was a real challenge doing that. Now coming back to, so we've covered the basics, just brushed off on it again. Last week, Prabha covered the concepts in detail. And if you have any questions, let me know. But now we are going to talk about different roles. So we have got risk, audit. We've got security engineering, cyber engineering roles, legal, threat management, and DevSecOps. When we talk about DevSecOps, we're talking about secure coding. We are talking about development of our code, development of our applications. And we will go through this, all these different roles and how they connect. So this is one of the concepts. It's called cybersecurity lifecycle. This is from NIST CSF framework. And when we talk about it, it becomes easier for us to understand, and it becomes easier for us to explain to somebody about what you are doing. So it's broken down in a very, very methodical way. It says identify. When we talk about identify, what exactly are we talking about? We're talking about what are the things that we care about, what are our assets, what are our business processes, what are the things that we are trying to protect. Then we come to protect, means access controls. So now we've identified the different assets that we have, and now we are going to protect them. Then detect. So now we protected them, but how do we know if everything is going okay? So that's where the detection module comes in place, or the detection practice. Means we need to understand if somebody is trying to break into our environment, how are we going to get alerts? Who's going to monitor everything? And then we talk about responding to it. So if we detected that there is some anomaly, there is a problem going on, how are we going to now respond to that? Okay, and then once we've responded to it, how do we recover? Suppose, heaven forbid, there was a ransomware attack. What are our plans in place to recover from this problem? So when we talk about identify, we're talking about understanding and managing cybersecurity risk. And it could be people, data, processes, technologies. So we come up with a plan. saying that, okay, we've identified these are important. Now suppose just on a very basic level, when you talk about, say, your own home, right? How many laptops do you have? How many connected devices you have? Connected devices could be your smart TV. It could be your wearables. It could be your pet tracker, the tracker that you use, put on your pet so that you know how much exercise the pet had, or maybe you are hiring a pet walker who's taking your pet out for a walk. Where did they go? How much did they go out for? Did he stop somewhere, etc.? So all that, once you identify everything, you say, okay, these are the things that I need to protect. You have a router, you've got an internet connection. So you're going to say, okay, these are my assets that need to be protected. Then how are we going to protect them? What are we going to do to them, right? Are you going to, like, suppose you come into your house, and do you protect your, say you've got like a magazine that you're reading, would you keep it in the same place that you would go and store your valuables? No. So depending on maybe depending on the kind of asset you have, and depending either on the price or the value, we will have certain safeguards. Like suppose we've got data in a corporate environment, we've got data. All data is not the same and does not require the same level of protection. So if we are talking about all data is not the same and doesn't require the same level of protection. So think about it. When we are talking about protecting customer data, patient data, that is going to receive the highest level of care and our attention. However, if we have something which is like external website information, etc., we're not going to spend that much money, because it's supposed to be disseminated. It is supposed to be with we've got ads that we have on YouTube that we are running. Yes, okay, all right. Do we need to have the same level of protection for those ads? No, probably not. Then detection. This function is going to make sure that any kind of incident is discovered timely. Means if suppose there is a problem in our environment, somebody is trying to get in, then our job is going to be to make sure that we are alerted about this timely. If you look at data which is available out there in the market, people like normally they say a threat actor remains in your environment for at least 6 months before he's even discovered. So what does that mean? The damage that a person or a threat actor can do in your environment for the 6 months that they are in there, it's like huge, and you may not even detect. So we need to detect any kind of anomalous event. And when we talk about threat actor, could be insiders, could be outsiders. And it could be like malicious, or it could be just inadvertent. Means you do not, like your users are not aware of things that they could put your business in risk for. Maybe like they give out too much information. They share about a lot of things that they are doing at work on their social media. Maybe somebody calls them and they just like want to help that person, and they just blurt out things. So security awareness helps in bringing down and making sure that everybody is on the same plane and they understand what they are supposed to be doing. Then respond means contain the impact. Okay, fine. So you've detected a problem. Now, how do we stop it? How do we make sure that the impact that we had is contained? It's minimal. And then we are going to recover from that. So timely recovery. Suppose our website was attacked. We have what is known as distributed denial of service attack. Means there is a malicious actor who's sending a lot of traffic to our website, and our website is overwhelmed, and the people who are our customers who we want to visit our website cannot use our website. How do we respond? Because think about it, just now there was this Amazon Prime Day, 11th and 12th. Amazon website was very frequently used by customers because they were looking for deals. They were trying to transact business on their website. During this time, if Amazon had some kind of a denial of service attack, where some malicious actor is sending a lot of traffic on their this thing, but not with a view to do business, but just to make sure that others are not able to transact business with Amazon. So that would mean if I cannot now go to my Amazon account, or I'm trying to buy something and I can't do it, it means that I'm going to be doing something else, and Amazon's going to lose business. So it is very important, right, to recover from any kind of potential problems. Now we're going to talk about breaches. So what are breaches? Anybody, can you start typing in? What do you think are breaches? Type it in the chat. Okay. Can you let me know if you can hear me? All right, great. Is DDoS sending false packets to a server to try and crash it? Yes. Distributed, so DOS, yeah. Denial of service does that. There are different ways in which you do it. And distributed is like when the traffic is coming from different, maybe it is a botnet or something which is compromised. And yes, so distributed denial is, yes, you're sending like half open packages, you're sending ICMP ping, you're sending, so different methodologies, but exactly, yes. Yes, leaks or backdoors could be result of breaches when someone goes into the network or break in. Perfect. Yes, yes, yes. Super. All right. So, does anybody remember? Okay. So this looks really, really benign. Oh, records breach 7 million compared to everything else going on. However, breaches have consequences. They have consequences on the reputation. They've got consequences on different peoples, and they've got consequences on your business. There is a data which says that small businesses do not survive beyond 6 months after a major breach. And that is why breaches are important. Now, I'll tell you like what happened during this Colonial Pipeline. We in the Northeast were impacted by this in a huge way. That is when we saw, so basically there was a ransomware attack against Colonial Pipeline. What does Colonial Pipeline do? As the name suggests, they pump they pump petroleum products from one part of the country to the other, and then it gets distributed. When they realized that there was a problem, there was a ransomware attack, what they did was they did not want to impact their operational technologies, so they shut down their business. And as a result, all the gas had to be moved via tankers on like through the roads and stuff. As a result, in the Northeast, petrol pumps, gas stations ran out of gas. The price of gas went up by 3 to 4 cents, depends on where you were. And this was a real impact. So that is when people realized that cyber security has impact on the physical life and impact. So that's when people think, oh shoot, this is not good at all. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, obviously 214 million records breached, and Kroger via Acelion, so they had a huge breach again. Parlor, we don't know like how many of this thing. Audi and Volkswagen had a huge breach again. So 85% of the breaches are due to social engineering, either system intrusion or any kind of compromise to their applications. So three vectors, right? Main vectors. First is either due to social engineering, means somebody did call somebody and they provided information, or some kind of like phishing attempts, some kind of ransomware attack, stolen credentials, that is another vector. So system intrusions, and then exploiting vulnerabilities in your environment. So three things, major broadly, if you see, you will be able to put these three things. So whenever you think about, hear or read about a breach, just like try and put them, like, why did this breach happen? What was the vector? And either the vector will be that there was like some social engineering attempt, there was some kind of a vulnerability which was exploited, or it was due to stolen credentials. Three big buckets. So what is social engineering? When we're talking about social engineering, and what are the implications? Social engineering is trying to get information from somebody, either via any kind of phishing attempts, any kind of, when we talk about social engineering attempts, it is like, maybe it depends. So like when I say, okay, phishing means I'm trying to get you to click on a link or do something, I'm sending you a email. Either that email could have a link or could have a malware attached to it. So I'm trying to make you take some kind of action by which I will be able to compromise your security. It could also be that I am going to call you and say, hey, I'm calling from so and so, and oh, I'm calling from Amazon. I have a $50 credit to give you. Can you tell me about this, that, the other, so that I make sure that I'm going to put my money in your account and nobody else's? How likely is this? Just ask yourself before you fall for that. The third thing is through text messages all the time, right? You get this, hey, click on this link. This happened. Your account will get canceled. Your social security number is going to be denied or something, suspended, or God knows what else happens, right? So just make sure that you do not. Now, when we talk about system intrusions, we're talking about malware. So I sent you that first link, and now you've downloaded a malware, which is on your environment. Okay, so there's a question here. When you refer to breaches, are you referring to the amount of information packets that was stolen? No, I'm talking about, okay. So when I'm talking about breaches, I'm talking basically about records in the sense that suppose you are a customer, right? And your record got stolen. So and that depends, right? Sometimes people say, yes, we had a breach. However, credit card information was not stolen. This was not stolen. So it depends. So now suppose I am a customer. What is that business or what is that particular company collecting from me? So suppose I need to provide my first name, last name, date of birth, address. Depends, right? Not everybody asks for everything, but it depends. So that becomes a customer record. So when we say, oh, 7 million customer records were impacted, was stolen, or so much data was infiltrated, we are talking about that. We are basically not talking about packets of information. We're talking about customer records. Does that make sense, Alexander? Okay. So when we talk about basic web application compromises, we are talking about email, we are talking about applications, we are talking about any kind of exploitation of vulnerabilities. And we use so many different dependencies that we have in our software. So something somewhere could be compromised, which makes our environment compromised, and now we are subject to a breach. So, okay, great, Alexander, thanks. So then what are top countermeasures? Means how do we react? How do we respond? How do we try and what are the countermeasures? So the first most important countermeasure is making sure that you have security awareness training. And now everybody who's on this webinar today needs to go back and talk about security awareness with their parents, their friends, anybody who wants to listen to you. Just make sure that you talk to them. Talk to them about not responding to calls, not responding to emails, not responding to, if you don't know this person, do not click on things, so training. First thing is training, important. Then if you are a business, if you are a company, then you have to test. So yes, you did training, but then you test them. So you send out like a phishing campaign, test phishing campaign, and see how many of your employees are going to click on it. Once they click on it, they need to be given remedial training. and keep on repeating this training and testing time and again. Then, so great. Now we've done this training, security, but then access control. So managing credentials is extremely important. Make sure just after this session, make sure that you enable multi-factor authentication. Google's got their key just now. So make sure that you are, if suppose, and does everybody know what multi-factor authentication is? Just let me know in the chat so I can elaborate, or I mean, if everybody knows, then probably I don't need to go into detail. So just let me know if you don't, it's okay. I can cover it in a short period of time. So I use, this is a YubiKey. I use different types of this thing. So this is another one. This is a dongle that is used. So multi-factor authentication basically means that when we talk about authentication, it starts with something you have, means a dongle or something you know, like a password. A username and password is like something you, and then when we go further, we're talking about something you are, something you have. Something you are is biometrics, Face ID, right? So those are different authentication methods that we use. So always use more than one. If you are only using a username and password, what does that mean? When you are just using a username and password, if your username and password is compromised, then people can have access to whatever application that you are logging into. Whereas now, in addition to your username and password, if you are using a hardware key like this, or you are using Face ID or any kind of other biometric authentication method, in that you have that additional layer. Is it perfect? Probably not. But then it is better than just having a user ID and password. Okay, so now you've done security awareness. You've said like, okay, we have a great scheme. We have enabled multi-factor authentication. And next, if we have all these things, but we did not configure the systems properly, then there is going to be a problem, because our systems are as good as they are configured. And if they are not configured securely, we did not like switch on some kind of setting that was required. In that case, we will be vulnerable. Does anybody recognize what this thing is? It won't be like this, but what I'm trying to say is this is ransomware. If you go in and one day you get like a countdown clock on your laptop, it says, hey, this system is encrypted by crypto, God knows what, crypto locker, or there are like a bunch of programs. Okay, there's a question. For 6-digit authentication, is it possible to brute force it? 6-digit authentication. Okay, I'm trying to guess, Alexander, what you're trying to ask me. And it seems that what you're saying is that there is a one-time password which is 6-digit. Is that what you were trying to ask me, or is that something different? So for authentication, here's what we do basically. First thing is we shorten the time. So I say, okay, I'm sending it to you. It's only going to be valid for a short amount of time. The second thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to say that, okay, after three attempts, I'm going to ask you for heightened authentication. It means now I feel that it's somebody else, because like you said, right, brute force. So in that case, what happens is we're going to say, okay, this user has now failed like to log in like 3 times. So we're going to then go into a heightened authentication mode. What does that mean? You're trying to log in from your phone, and I'm like, okay, maybe he lost his phone, or maybe she lost her phone, or they lost their phone. So now what are we going to do? We are going to say, hey, can you log in from your can you click on this link I sent you to your email account? Can you maybe log in or maybe do something on your laptop? So you've got like 2 devices. So can you do something on that? So that is how we take care of that basically. the authentication. Is that like you were talking about, like how to combat brute force attacks? What was your question? If you can like let me know, it'll be great. Okay, perfect. Thanks. So how do we prevent this? Make sure that your anti-malware is regularly updated. Do not click on any links or attachments. Do not provide any kind of personal information to anybody who you don't know. So somebody might call you saying, I'm calling from a bank, I'm calling from so-and-so sheriff's office, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. Do not provide any information. And this is important. You talk about this to your parents, talk about this to anybody who wants to listen to you, and make sure that you are communicating, because now it is your job to communicate this information to everybody. So phishers will try to trick you into installing, like you will get this thing saying, hey, I'm calling from Microsoft and I want you to do this. Your system has been compromised. Guess what? You think Microsoft has got time to call you and like ask you to, is this the most optimal way to do things? No. So do not fall for this kind of a attack. Okay, fine. So now you got this 72-hour clock, which is saying like, okay, pay so much Bitcoin. So like, whatever fraction of a Bitcoin. Otherwise, all your data will be wiped out. What are you supposed to do? Make sure you talk to your parents about it. Restore your files from backups. If you had a backup, do that. If you have like online, like Google's Drive, you know what? Great. Okay, perfect. Tell your parents not to pay the ransom, because even if you pay the ransom, there is no guarantee you can recover your files. Now it depends, like what kind of files you have. Make sure that you always have some kind of a backup which is in the cloud, and update all your programs and your antivirus software. So now we are going to get to our career path. We've done our background information. What are the different career paths available? Are you interested in receiving scholarship monies to attend college or university? Because I'm going to talk about a program which will allow you to do just that. So again, challenging job that also pays well. Guess what it's going to be? Cybersecurity is one of the top 20 fastest growing fields in our country. And cybersecurity professional earn median, right? So $95,000. And currently this is 300,000, but then there are like a lot more openings and positions available in our country. So this is a great career choice, and there is something for everybody. So like we remember when we talked about the different roles, whether you go into law, you could be a cyber lawyer, means there are cyber laws which you could like be advising your customers for, or talking about, like you could be like hired by different companies that need help with that. There are lots of positions open, and there are lots of areas. If you are interested in, maybe I'm interested in technology, I'm like, I want to know about like system design, I want to know about algorithms, I'm interested in coding, I'm interested in engineering, right? Cyber engineering. I'm interested in business, I'm interested in understanding like management. So there is our GRC field, which is governance, risk, and compliance field. I'm interested in, no matter what you try to do, you will find a role which is cyber related, which is really exciting because it allows you to be and do whatever you want, and there is still a job. So this cyber crops, make sure, so this is a service related scholarship available, and you receive up to $25,000 for undergraduate studies. And you can earn a degree from any recognized nationally. So you can take this money, go to any university, and then upon graduation, 92 to 95% of the students will be hired in government jobs. You work there for a couple of years, and then you can probably, if you want to move, that's great. If not, you can stay there and make an impact to our country. Now we're going to talk about the different entry-level certifications. So what are certifications? Basically, we as students, or we as young students who are trying to get into, like probably you guys are high schoolers, but now you are trying to like get that edge, right? So because I mean, yeah, there are 300,000. No, George, you don't. Yeah, no. So question is there from George, and he's like, "Oh, do you need to have cybersecurity experience?" And the answer is no, because remember, these are graduate level and undergraduate level um scholarships. So yeah, no, you don't need. You don't need that. That's why I shared this with you, with everybody today. Are there scholarships that were willing to pay for someone to take CompTIA exams? Uh, so Jonathan, yes. Uh, so basically what CompTIA does is it gives you a student rate. So there is like a regular rate, and for students it is less. So it is cheaper. Now, if you say like, okay, I scholarship in the sense that you're looking for somebody to pay for that, or are you looking? So there's a discount available right now today. Yes, you can approach like, so there are different what should I say, there are different not-for-profits, and it requires a little bit of digging, but the answer is yes. And it's a good thing. I'm going to note it down, and on my LinkedIn, once I like do like at least get 3 sources who can pay for this, I'll put that down on my LinkedIn as a LinkedIn post, and make sure that you connect with me so you get it, and make sure that you press that notification. Now LinkedIn also has that notification thingy, so make sure so you get. I will definitely respond to this. So let me do a research and come up with 3 sources that will pay for your CompTIA or other certifications. So right now I can tell you today that there is a certification called Certified in Cybersecurity, which is a basic level certification from ISC Squared, and they have a free certification for students. So that will be there. CompTIA has got discounted one, and I will definitely this thing answer your question in that way. So currently we have got discounts, and then in addition to that, if you want to know if there are companies or there are places which will pay for free things, yes, absolutely. But I will give you more specific. So by saying yes, they will pay, it doesn't help you, right? Because where do you go now? So I will do the research. I will post it as a post which says, hey, these are first, second, and third. At least you can get started, and in the meantime you can even research on your own. So what are entry level certifications? Basically, when you go in and I go in and I'm looking for internships, right? I'm not talking about jobs. I'm talking about you getting that next internship. How do you differentiate yourself from the other person, right? That's what it is. Basically, that differentiation, that little edge that you need for somebody to notice your resume better than the person who doesn't have. So these entry-level certifications from CompTIA, I like Network Plus a lot. I like Security Plus a lot. Basic certifications, yes, you need to study for them because these are different concepts, right? Then there are from AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. A lot of them are free. Google Cloud has free certifications. Microsoft has opened their doors to certifications. Google has got even cybersecurity certifications that are free. So yes, make sure that you check those out before like spending a lot of money on stuff. But yes. Now, when we talk about complementary skills, right? Okay, great. You want to get into cyber. Get used to reading. Reading what? Reading about, like, making sure that you are reading about the area that you're interested in. You're interested in cyber engineering. Okay, so great. What part of cyber engineering? Are you interested in like development? Are you interested in the environment? It depends on like what you're interested in, right? Do you know about protocols? What about APIs? I'm interested in like maybe like what kind of API should I connect? What is a container? So there are so many things. So make sure that you are reading. Oh, I'm interested in AWS infrastructure, right? AWS has got so much information. Go to their website, it's free. Make sure that you are on LinkedIn from your student account. LinkedIn Learning is free for most students. So make sure that you have a profile created over there. Make sure that you take advantage of free resources that are available to you. Reading habit will help you with your career, because and when you are reading, make sure that you are reading from some kind of peer reviewed. So when we talk about peer reviewed, what does it mean? We are going to a source which is like a journal, which is like some kind of authoritative sources, right? YouTube, yeah, great, right? But that's not peer reviewed. Sometimes YouTube has great content, but sometimes, I mean, there's no barrier to entry, so anybody can just come and talk. So make sure like you are reading, you are like researching, writing, and presenting. When we talk about researching, writing, and presenting, if you are passionate about a certain topic, how did this happen? Oh, there's a new breach. How did that happen? Read about it, write it down, find out what happened, and then present means even if it is just presenting to your class, your school, or any kind of this thing, put a presentation together, put a blog post together. If nothing, just put something on your LinkedIn profile saying, hey, these are the things that I found out. What do you think about it, right? So make sure that you start doing that, because when I'm looking at hiring you as an intern, right? Somebody is looking at your profile, somebody is looking at something. The first thing that they see will be like, okay, what is this person doing? And by reading, researching, presenting, writing about stuff, I get an idea that you were clued into this, and it's not something that just came to your mind and you just like upright. Because I teach at Rutgers, and I see students will say, I applied for 300 different internships and I didn't even get a call from anybody and stuff. It is heart-wrenching. It is really, really hurting me. But then that's why I'm here today, because I want all of you to be successful. So when you talk about this, be very mindful when you are connecting with people. What are you interested in doing? And maybe you're just interested in finding out, right? You don't know what you're interested in doing. That's okay. So be very broad in the beginning and read about different things, connect with different people, and ask them like, hey, can I spend 15 minutes of your time? I want to know what you do in a typical day. Can you talk to me about like what kind of technology is this? So make sure you are networking with people, you are reaching out to people, and making sure that you know enough. Because sometimes if you really don't know and you're like, yeah, this is great, this is exactly what I want to do, but then when you reach there you realize, oh, I am not interested, this is not something that I thought it would be. That is not a very happy place for you. So any questions now? I think we've got little time for questions right now. So if there are any questions, let me know. Okay, if nobody has any, oh yeah, all right. Thank you, thank you so much. Yeah, you can send me a private chat, that's fine. All right, so if nobody has any questions, thank you so much for joining us okay. Oh, all right, there are questions. How would you get internships as a high schooler? Great question, Alexander. There are opportunities available for high schoolers, and this is something that I'm working on with my colleagues and friends to focus in bringing young high schoolers into an internship. The challenges that we faced are more like regulatory stuff, but stay tuned. And I'm sure like HS Navigator has got a bunch of scholarships that opportunities that they've shared with you. I will work with the whole HS Navigator team to make sure that we provide more opportunities for high schoolers, internship opportunities. And so stay tuned with us and stay connected with HS Navigator and their leadership team. They are amazing people. I really admire the kind of stuff that they are doing. And these are top performers, right? So join them, because these are people who are at the top of their game. And now they want to give back. So hats off to everybody at HS Navigator. And thank you so much for joining, because you wouldn't join, right? You would be like having fun and it's summer. Who wants to like do this? But you have joined this program. You've been selected into it. Do you know how many people applied for it and then you made it in? So congrats to all of you. And if there are no other questions, thank you so much. And see you next week with something different. Bye. Take care.